Okay, so talking about passing a guard player, somebody that's seated upright, okay? Now, really, what I have to worry about are dealing with somebody's frames. If I start picking a side to pass and I've got knees and elbows that I'm dealing with and I'm not able to give pressure, I can't think of like overpowering that frame, right? That knee is, the direction it's pointing is built to hold my pressure very easily. So I have to outmaneuver it, right? Sometimes when I'm the person on bottom and I'm using this frame, so I kind of keep this frame high so that it's not easy to smash down. So sometimes I have to kind of like adjust where I come up, get my weight on it, and then I'll sink back to get that knee flat. Now, once I get the knees together, they're always going to be easier to manage if I keep them together. So once I smash that knee, now I'm going to dig this hand underneath and outmaneuver the leg. Now this back step is great. I don't always catch it. Sometimes they catch me in like a half guard here, but I keep my hip turned in so that my shoulder and hip are heavy. I'm not applying a lot of force as much as I'm just kind of leaning in that direction, but my shoulder needs to be the leading edge. I also want to think of levels. The reason I like keeping my head close to their hips is because they have less of my hips and guard to kind of like get their legs entangled with. If our hips are aligned with each other, then he can use his whole leg to have access to my whole leg. So I like to slide back. So when I get into this position and I kind of look, I bump down, I come over the top of the knees and I start getting heavy, I can just sprawl my weight back to outmaneuver that leg a lot of times. You're still gonna have to deal with this bottom leg trying to recover a guard. So try to bring that back like you're gonna bring it in, yeah, just like this. So to finish beating that, I use my inside leg to get in front of and on top of the knee, keep that knee in like you're recovering the guard, and I'm gonna pass that knee off to my other leg. I wanna make sure that I never lose that pressure. I'm keeping the knees pinched together and keeping my head close. So let's look at that from another angle, kind of on this side. Try it on my goofy side. So I'm dealing with a guard player. I've got this kind of halfway half guard engaged where they've got good frames up and I'm running into this pressure. So I'll use my shoulder to get the knee down and then I'm gonna come right in front of that knee. I wanna stay on top of the knee. It just a little bit of pressure here will stop that knee from coming back up to the chest and recreating a guard. And then I get heavy on one hip. If I'm chest flat, it spreads my pressure over a large surface area. I want to use the point of my shoulder. So I turn towards the feet and I get heavy on one hip. And then I can usually sprawl, like I stretch this leg out straight and then I can kick that leg free. But they're going to try to recover a guard with that leg. I'm using this grapevine action to try to keep their knees close. And then look, this leg again is going to find the top of the knee and pass it across my hip. Passing it across the hip is an easy concept to understand. What's difficult is having enough weight on my shoulders so that my legs are light. Legs being light makes them move quickly, and it's passing that leg across my hip without sacrificing any pressure with that shoulder, right? So you have to kind of commit to leaning in. I'm always talking about my invisible chair, and that's really the position I want to try to accomplish when I'm on top. I'll kind of demonstrate, instead of using my shoulder just so you can kind of see the concept, I'll just post on the ground. But I'm still making 90-degree angles at the feet, 90-degree angles at the hips, at the torso, and I lean in. That pivot keeps my knees real light so I can pass that leg across my hip while keeping my pressure constant on their torso. That pressure, we're gonna use that to kind of slide up a little bit, but it should be like right at about their belly button, right? I wanna be like head on the hip, right in the middle of their gut. Think of it this way. I want to make their soft stomach turn into a bowl or like a pocket for my shoulder. If I'm putting that pressure on their rib cage, on their torso, that pressure can just slide off of like a rigid torso, right? So I want to keep it right at their guts. Cool? I'm going to set 2 timers for the first timer. I just want one person to complete that route as many times as they can. And then at the end of that timer, we'll switch top and bottom and let the other person get their reps in. If you've done this before, go first, right? So the other person kind of feel that pressure. And yeah, let's do it that way. Ready? 1, 2, 3.